Good morning. Welcome to Door Community Auditorium and the Door County Talks series. I'm Carrie Lewis, Executive Director of DCA, and I thank all of you here in person as well as those watching our live stream from home. Before we get started, we want to thank our partners and sponsors. We're grateful for the partnership of University of Wisconsin Green Bay First Nations program and Dr. Lisa Poupart, who recommended the slate of speakers for this year's series. We're also appreciative of the support of the Door County Civility Project, and live streaming for the series is sponsored by Jim and Kathy Steele. Please join me in giving all these partners a round of applause. We hope to see you back here next week on March 12th for the fourth and final talk in the series, Ho-Chunk History with William Quackenbush. At this time, for those of you in the audience, please take a moment to silence all mobile devices, and I'll talk briefly about this morning's format. Our guest, Lucy and Benjamin Grignon, will speak for about 40 to 50 minutes, then we'll take a 20-minute break. When we come back, Mark Nelson from Door County Civility Project will say a few words about that organization. Then our speakers will come back, present their closing segment, and take our questions. For those of you live streaming the event, you'll have the opportunity to send your questions as well, and we'd encourage you to either post them in the comments or send a direct message to DCA. As a special treat, our good friend Wade Fernandez will open today's talk. Wade is performing a coffeehouse concert for us that will be shared virtually tonight at 7 p.m., so please tune in on our Facebook page or come back later for the video on our other platforms. Welcome back to Door County, Wade.
Also, it's really nice to see everybody.
Yeah.
So, Nawiswan Ben Grignon, Waqnahwew and Waqnahwew, Kayesh Mamachitawak, Nage Pamatasewak, Mawao Nitotam, and Matamosam Lucy.
So, my name is Lucy, and this is Pitaepanuhkiw Wild Rose. We're very excited to be here today.
We've been isolating for quite a long time because of baby. And so yesterday she got to go to her first grocery store and went to our first hotel last night. And so we've been doing a lot of really fun things. We got to have some lunch with family in Green Bay. Yeah, right. And so we're kind of like re-emerging back into hopefully a post-pandemic world. That's what we're really hoping. And so we're really excited. We've been really excited to come up here and share a little bit about who we are and what we do. And for me, I'm a traditional arts teacher at Menominee Indian High School. I've been teaching there for, 12 years, 13 years. I'm the 2019 Wisconsin High School Teacher of the Year. I was the first, thank you. I was the first Indigenous person to be nominated to be a Teacher of the Year, which has opened up a lot of opportunities for me. In 2020, I was the National Education Association. I won an award for civil rights, and doing my work in the community. Was recognized for that as well. And right now I'll be working with Wade down in Washington, D.C. It's part of We the Peoples Before Education for the First Peoples Fund, doing a curriculum based on the artists that were selected to perform down at the Kennedy Center. So I'm working with some Indigenous teachers from around the country to build a curriculum based on the arts, which is really exciting. But today, we really wanted to come and share our homestead journey and the things that we're learning, coming from, like, I was born in Washington, D.C. My father's Menominee, and my mom was an army brat. So he married a general's daughter, and they lived together in Washington, D.C., had me, moved home to the Menominee Reservation. And so I spent my first few years living right next to my grandfather. My grandfather was a gardener, and my mom would often talk about how when she was out hanging clothes on the line, me as a little guy she'd turn around and I'd be gone. And this is in the woods, and so she'd be searching for me, and here I'd always walk over to find Grandpa and hang out with Grandpa in the garden. So that's really a part of who I am and who I've been. As I started my language journey later on in life, one of the most important dreams that I had was sitting with my grandfather. And I was sitting with my grandfather in my dream, and he was speaking to me in Menominee. Very simple words, like he was speaking to a young child. And I believe that's how he spoke to me in the garden way back when. And so that also is a very important part of my life and where I'm going and what I'm doing. I am a board member of the Menominee U, which is it's a group of Menominee people that are coming together to revitalize the language, and they've been doing it online. It wasn't always meant to be online, but because of the pandemic, it became an online kind of a phenomenon. They've had a number of classes now, and they have well over 200 people signing up for these classes, online classes. And that's so important. It's so important to us as part of our reclamation of who we are. And it's leading to so many different opportunities. Right now, our maple sugar season is coming on. And so this group of people are coming together to sit together and do the work that was gifted to us as Menominee people on how to create the maple syrup, the maple sugars, and doing it in the language, doing it as a community, doing it intergenerationally. We've got elders, we've got younger people, and we've got the very young. Part of what we're doing on the reservation as well is creating an immersion program. It started with daycare and a Head Start. So we've been working with kids from 0 to 5 years old. For the last few months, I took a sabbatical from my teaching job, and I've been the project coordinator for Pitaepanuhkiw, which is a charter school that's based in Montessori and Menominee education models. So we're in our very first planning year. We don't have any kids yet. That'll start in the fall. But we've had some time to reflect and think about Pitaepanuhkiw is a word that means we learn by observation. And it's not just learning, like learning the numbers or learning the alphabet or anything like that. It's really a spiritual learning, emotional learning. It's like, how do we learn how to be who we are? Through observation. And Lucy and I, in our journey here, are you gonna?
Yes.
Click. Did you want to add to that, Lucy?
Well, I'm Lucy, and I am a teacher as well. Once COVID hit, the world became my classroom. I was no longer just in a school or a public school, so we decided to make our homestead and start teaching from our homestead. So this is like our first group picture in our garden of my husband and we have our masks on because the pandemic did have a lot to do with the why behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found myself separated from my classroom as well, and really like feeling the need to provide for my family. How are we going to do that if at that time we were thinking, or maybe we wouldn't be able to get the things we needed at the grocery store, or could we collect the medicines we needed? Could we survive on our own? Could we be self-sufficient in a pandemic world? You know, this is early on in the pandemic. And so those are like real fears that you have in thinking about that. And so I had, been growing up with gardeners in my family, and we decided that we wanted to, something that we wanted to do together. And my uncle is a tribal historic preservation officer. And for many years, I've taught in the Menominee culture camps in the summer. And as part of doing that, then we would go into the woods and look at our archaeological sites, and especially our old garden beds. Okay. Oh. So this picture on the right is Dr. David Overstreet. He's our tribal archaeologist. He's the one that really helped us to look at some of these sites. It's a community-wide effort to find these sites, and they are prolific along the Wolf River. And I imagine right here in Door County as well, you'll find sites like this, an undisturbed land. The Menominee practice of farming was a ridge and furrow farming. And you can see them kind of in this picture. It's really hard to see, especially even in the woods. But on the left here, you can see an archaeological drawing of what they look like. And they are really amazing. They're deep into the woods, along right along the waterways. And part of these garden beds too are the storage pits. And those are really interesting as well. You want to click ahead? Yeah. So we based our garden model on the archaeological evidence that we found on the Menominee Reservation. So I really I've been working on my doctorate through the University of Wisconsin Green Bay, the First Nations Education Program. And so I was doing lots and lots of thinking, right? And getting out and tilling of the land and creating these spaces where we could create a sustainable garden really gave me the chance to think through the things that I've been researching and the direction that I wanted to go in my doctorate program. It also helped, I mean, it's really a spiritual thing to be in the garden and till with your hands and be a part of that earth. It's very healing, right? And so when you're going through this time where COVID is scary, COVID was unknown, right? We tried to cling on to something that was also a little bit unknown, but a little bit more familiar. Something that we could organize and figure out. And so that's what we did.
So I love taking pictures, especially of our homestead.